Hello and good morning, my dear ninth class students. I hope all of you are safe and doing good at your home. So, let's begin our next topic today in the French Revolution. So, in our last video, we were in the French society during the late 18th century. You did learn about the different three estates. We also learned about what was the condition therein. King was not able to control the situation there. People were not at all happy with the thing emperor is doing. There was struggle to survive. People were not having enough food. We did learn that how these landlords were exploiting the farmers, and also the we also learnt about the course of substances crisis. Today we will be starting our topic with the growing middle class and to privileges. So now what is that? You learned that we last word that to meet its regular expenses such as the cost of maintaining an army, the court, running government offices or universities, the state has forced to increase the taxes. So far people were not happy. They were not at all coming up with these things that what is happening. And we did learn about that a growing middle class was coming in the way who was far more educated, and they know their bit that what changes they should bring. So now what is this growing middle class? The 18th century witnessed the emergence of social group termed as middle class. This estate was educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. So so far we just learned about the upper class and the lower class. We did not learn any term about the middle class. So now that a special class is coming who were educated and believe that no ग्रुप इन द सोसाइटी शुड बी प्रिविलेज बाय बर्थ. लोगों को अपनी एबिलिटी से उनके जो भी जो रिवॉर्ड्स हैं वो मिलना चाहिए. सो ये चीज़ ये क्लास मानता था और इसको टर्म दिया गया मिडिल क्लास का. दे अर्नड देयर वेल्थ. दे कौन है यहाँ पे? मिडिल क्लास. मिडिल क्लास अर्नड देयर वेल्थ थ्रू ओवरसीज ट्रेड by manufacturing woolen and silk textiles and professions as lords and administrative officers. So this particular class used to do the overseas trade. They used to manufacture woolen and silk textiles and used to export it to other places, and they were in the professions as lords and administrative officers. So we can understand that they were really educated because they were in this particular profession. Then this middle class were inspired by the ideas of different philosophers and discuss the same in salons and coffee shops. That gives us a glimpse that French society did have the salons and coffee shops culture, which actually came to all over world after that. So these people used to gather at those places and they used to discuss about the things because it was actually published in newspapers and the books. So जो philosophers थे उनकी बात वो सुनते थे, उनकी बातें डिस्कस करते थे. सो दीज आइडियाज़ वर इवन रीड अलाउड, जोर से पढ़ा करते थे through books and newspapers. As this class was educated and they used to believe that we should discuss, they used to do this thing. The American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was an important example of political theories in France. We did learn in our last video that Louis XVI helped 13 American colonies to gain their independence from the common enemy Britain. So इससे हमें ये पता चलता है कि when these people, middle class in France, were discussing these ideas, America already got revealed independent. They formed their own constitution and they started giving something called individual rights. So these French people also started thinking about the same, that what are these political theories. Now we need to learn about the renowned philosophers of 18th century. Who are these philosophers who impacted so much to these people? कौन थे ये फिलोसोफर्स? कौन थे जिन्होंने दुनिया को बदलने में हेल्प की, या वो क्या सोचते थे? सो द थ्री इम्पॉर्टेंट फिलोसोफर्स हु कम and who get the names are John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu. So who was John Locke? The English philosopher sought to refuse the doctrine of the divine and absolute right of the monarch. He wrote two treatises of government. जॉन लोकी जो एक इंग्लिश फिलोसोफर थे, ही यूज टू थिंक दैट देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड डॉक्ट्राइन ऑफ द डिवाइन एंड एब्सोल्यूट राइट ऑफ द मोनार्च. डॉक्ट्राइन ऑफ द डिवाइन का मतलब होता है कि आप एक ऐसे डॉक्ट्राइन को, कैसी प्रिंसिपल को मान रहे हो कि जो राजा होता है वो गॉड की तरह है, वो डिवाइन है, एंड एब्सोल्यूट राइट ऑफ द मोनार्च, मोनार्च जो है, जो किंग है, जो एम्परर है, ही हैज़ ओनली गॉट द राइट, nobody else has got the right. He was against, John Locke was against this philosophy. वो ऐसा नहीं मानते थे. उन्होंने ये बात कहाँ लिखी? अपनी बुक में, जिस बुक का नाम था टू ट्रीटीज ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. देन नेक्स्ट आते हैं हमारे जीन जैकियस रोसियो, very famous philosopher. Okay, the French philosopher carried the idea forward, proposing a form of the government based on the social contract between people and their representatives, very similar to what we are following in a democracy in India today. He used to believe that there should be a government formed, there should be a social contract, एक तरह का contract होना चाहिए between the people, between the citizens और जो representatives. डेमोक्रेसी में क्या होता है, हम अपने रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स चुनते हैं और वो लोकसभा राज्यसभा में जाते हैं, गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करते हैं, देश को चलाते हैं. सो दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग रोशियो ने 18th सेंचुरी में ही अपनी बुक सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में लिखी थी. Then we have Montesquieu. He was a French philosopher again. In his book, The Spirit of Law, he proposed a division of power between the legislative, executive, and the judiciary. All this you see today in Indian गवर्नमेंट स्टाइल. ओके, हमारी जो गवर्नमेंट है वो अभी लेजिस्लेटिव, एग्जीक्यूटिव और जुडिशरी में डिफाइन है. लेजिस्लेटिव का मतलब होता है आपकी वॉट एवर वी हैव द लोकसभा राज्यसभा राइट नाउ, एग्जीक्यूटिव यू हैव द प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड प्रेसिडेंट राइट नाउ, एंड जुडिशरी वी हैव द जुडिशियल सिस्टम, दैट इज सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड हाई कोर्ट and other lower courts. So that was something Montesquieu has claimed in the 18th century itself in his book The Spirit of Law, and he proposed, उन्होंने ये आइडिया दिया कि डिवीज़न होना चाहिए पावर का बिटवीन द लेजिस्लेटिव, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड द जुडिशरी. सो ये था आपका अब तक का चैप्टर. टुडे वी आर अगेन गोइंग टू स्टार्ट अ नेक्स्ट पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक. ये फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन ही चल रहा है, उसके नेक्स्ट टॉपिक में हम आ रहे हैं द आउटब्रेक ऑफ द रिवोल्यूशन. इसका मैंने आपको ग्लिम्स दिया था दैट द स्टॉर्म ऑफ द पीपल हैज़ एंटर्ड इन द बेस्टाइल एंड दे स्टॉर्म एंड दे जस्ट broke down the Bastille jail and that thing happened. So अब हम इसको डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे that what was the outbreak of the revolution. Let's begin. In France of the old regime, old regime का मतलब होता है old style का France, when there were different philosophies and other rules and regulations were there in the France, that was old regime. The monarch means the emperor did not have the power to impose taxes according to his will alone. Rather, he had to call a meeting of the Estate General, which would then pass his proposals for new taxes. Now understand this here. Estate General में, or estates were divided into three parts. First estate was clergy who were actually used to denote the church. The second were the nobility who were the jamindars and this type of people in France. And the third estate में big one was the big businessman, merchants, court lawyers, officials. And then you have the peasants and artisans, that is your कर्मकार and farmers जो आते हैं. And उसी के साथ में then small peasants, landless, laborers और servants. तो इस तरह से जो फ्रेंच सोसाइटी 18th सेंचुरी में डिवाइडेड थी. अब हम यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं old regime, when there was an old regime in France, the monarch did not have any right, did not have power that he could impose the taxes according to his will alone. He has to call a meeting of the estate general. जो estates आपने पढ़े उनके जनरल को उसको बुलाना पड़ता था. Then proposals of new taxes were launched. ये तरीका था. एस्टेट जनरल क्या होता है? एस्टेट जनरल वॉज अ पॉलिटिकल बॉडी टू विच द थ्री एस्टेट सेंट देयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स. हर एक एस्टेट अपने रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को भेजता था. ये रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जो हैं आपके एक एस्टेट को बताते थे, उनका रिप्रेजेंट करते थे और इस तरह से टैक्स फॉर्मेशन का प्रपोजल्स आता था. However, the monarch alone could decide when to call a meeting of this body. So monarch means king, he decide करता था that when he has to do a meeting and when he will be calling a meeting and when he wants to impose the taxes. So now what happened? Now let's begin. That outbreak कैसे हुआ? Louis XVI called an assembly of estates general on 5th May 1789 to pass proposals for new taxes. So Louis XVI had decided and he called the assembly of estates, he called the estates representatives on 5th May 1789 to pass proposals for new taxes. The first two estates sent 300 representatives each. यानी एक estate से 300 यानी 600 वहाँ से हो गए. While 301 has 600 members. जो थर्ड आपका एस्टेट था उसमें अकेले में 600 मेंबर्स थे हु वेयर मोर प्रॉस्परस एंड एजुकेटेड। ओके, बिकॉज ये थर्ड एस्टेट जो है उसमें आपके कौन से लोग थे, यहाँ पे देखिए थर्ड एस्टेट्स में यू हैव द बिग बिजनेसमैन, मर्चेंट्स, कोर्ट ऑफिसर्स, लॉयर्स। ये लोग अभी तक नहीं आए हैं, आई एम जस्ट स्पीकिंग अबाउट दिस पीपल। ओके, सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस हैव मोर मनी देन इवन द क्लर्जी एंड नोबिलिटी. So that's the thing written here. They were more prosperous and educated. However, artisans, peasants, and women were denied entry to assembly. That means these people were denied, they were not able to enter the assembly. Only first estate, second estate, and third estate, maybe big businessmen, merchants, of court officials, and lawyers. They only sent their representative. Voting in estate general has been conducted as according to past principle of each state one vote, but members of third estate demanded for each member one vote philosophy. सो एस्टेट जनरल कैसे करते थे, दे डिसाइडेड कि अभी तक जो चलता आ रहा है हम उस प्रिंसिपल पर जाएंगे, एंड दिस वाज द विल ऑफ द लुइस 16th इटसेल्फ. उनकी भी इच्छा यही थी कि ऐसे ही वोटिंग होना चाहिए कि ईच स्टेट जो है वो एक वोट दे, है मतलब स्टेट की तरफ से सिर्फ एक वोट आए. बट द थर्ड एस्टेट दे डिमांडेड दैट नो, ईच मेंबर शुड गिव वन वोट. दे नीड दिस चेंज बिकॉज थर्ड एस्टेट नाउ वाज मोर एजुकेटेड एंड प्रॉस्परस, सो दे डिमांडेड दैट this should happen, there should be this much change. Now this was one of the democratic principles put forward by philosophers like Rousseau in his book The Social Contract. We just read about it, that Rousseau was the philosopher who was actually changing the mind of this middle class people. So उन्होंने अपने बुक सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ये बात लिखी थी that each member should have his or his right. हर तो नहीं आएगा because women were not allowed that time. So these people were really were aligned with Rousseau, and they wanted this should happen. So when the King Louis XVI rejected this proposal, members of the Third Estate walked out of the assembly in protest. As usual, King did not like this idea. No, that he wanted each state should give one vote. So he denied that new proposal. No, I am not going to accept it. And what happened? The Third Estate walked out of the assembly in protest. वो लोग वहाँ से निकल कर आ गए, और निकलने के बाद क्या किया, दे डिक्लेयर, दे है यहाँ पे आपका थर्ड एस्टेट. थर्ड एस्टेट डिक्लेयर देमसेल्व्स अ नेशनल असेंबली. उन्होंने एक अपनी पार्टी बनाई जिसका नाम दिया उन्होंने नेशनल असेंबली, और ये उन्होंने किया एक टेनिस कोर्ट में. टेनिस कोर्ट में उन्होंने अपनी मीटिंग बुलाई थी और वहाँ पे नेशनल असेंबली को किया. एंड सोर का मतलब होता है यहाँ पे ओथ, यानी प्रण लेना. नॉट टू डिस्पर्स टिल दे हैड ड्राफ्टेड अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फॉर फ्रांस दैट वुड लिमिट द पावर्स ऑफ द मोनार्च. दे वर लेड बाय मिराबियो हु वाज अ नॉबल एंड एबी सी आई अ प्रेस्ट. सो ये लोग जो है एक जगह पे इकट्ठे हो गए, ठीक है, और इन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि हम तब तक नहीं हिलेंगे जब तक हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ फ्रांस जो है उसका निर्माण नहीं कर लेते, और ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लिमिट कर देगा, डिक्रीज कर देगा पावर्स ऑफ द मोनार्च. यू कैन सी दिस पर्टिकुलर पिक्चर. This is called tennis court oath. As I already told that this meeting happened in a tennis court and they took the oath that we will not disperse. हम तब तक अलग नहीं होंगे जब तक कि हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का निर्माण नहीं कर लेते. सो दिस वॉज द प्रिपेटरी sketch for a large painting by Jacques Louis David. द पेंटिंग वॉज इंटेंड टू बी हंग इन द नेशनल असेंबली. तो आप देख सकते हो किस तरह से वहाँ पे असेंबली हुई थी. और ये लीड कौन कर रहा था, इट वॉज लेड बाय मिराबियो जो कि एक नॉवल थे, एंड एबीसीआई हु वॉज अ प्रेस्ट. सो ये उन्होंने डिसाइड किया. नाउ ड्यू टू द पावर ऑफ रिवॉल्ट, Louis XVI finally recognized the National Assembly and accepted the Constitution. अब लुइस पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा प्रेशर आने लगा. He got pressurized that okay, when there is huge revolt, then monarch or even the democratic ministers, they need to again curb the situation and they really need to accept the change which is happening in the society. So Louis XVI also did the same. He recognized the National Assembly. उन्होंने माना National Assembly को, and he accepted the Constitution. जिस Constitution का निर्माण National Assembly ने किया था. The Assembly passed a law abolishing the feudal system of obligation and taxes. The other name of this was टिट्स. टिट्स हमने पढ़ा था, ये ऐसा था जो कि आपके बोल सकते हैं that it was actually a tax levied by the church comprising 1/10 of the agriculture produce. हर किसी को अपने 1/10 of the agriculture produce जो है चर्च को देना पड़ता था. So असेंबली ने इस लॉ को डिनाई कर दिया, एबॉलिश कर दिया. एंड फ्यूडल सिस्टम का मतलब ज़मींदारी सिस्टम जो कि फ्रांस की थी. सो उन्होंने टिप्स जो है दे जस्ट टेक आउट द टिप्स आउट ऑफ द rules and regulations of the France. And this happened on the night of 4th August 1789. The members of the clergy ka again, it was again from the church priest and all these people, were forced to give up their privileges. They were forced, उनको अपनी सारी सुविधाएं सुख संपत्ति दे देनी पड़ी. They were forced to give up their privileges. As a result, the government acquired assets worth at least 2 billion livres. जैसे ही क्लर्जी ने अपनी सारी संपत्ति सुख सुविधाएं दे दी, गवर्नमेंट गॉट द एसेट्स. एसेट्स का मतलब होता है संपत्ति. एसेट्स गॉट द assets, they got the worth assets of 2 billion livres. Livres जो है, what was livres? It is a unit of currency in France that discontinued in 1794. So just see the quick review or formation of National Assembly. As I told you, estate generals जो था एक तरह का जनरल था जिसमें सारे जो एस्टेट्स है दे यूज्ड टू सेंड देयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव. सो फर्स्ट एस्टेट 300 मेंबर्स का था जिससे एक वोट जाता था. सेकंड एस्टेट भी 300 मेंबर्स का था, 1 वोट जाता था. थर्ड एस्टेट वाज ऑफ 600 मेंबर्स एंड देन 1 वोट. इट वाज they used to work like this, but this time what happened, third estate demanded 1 member 1 vote. That means 600 members 600 votes, but king rejected their demand. Hence third estate boycotted the meeting को boycott कर दिया and formed national assembly. और national assembly ने target किया what, constitution को. So till the time when king was not accepting this particular thing, there was really very bad phase for the France. You can see that on 14 July the agitated crowd stormed and destroyed the Bastille. जो हमने पढ़ा, bricks उठा के अपने घर पे ले गए. In the countryside rumors spread from village to village that the lords of the manor. What is your manor? Manor होता है an estate consisting of the lords लैंड एंड हिज मैंशन. यानी कि ऐसी जगह, ऐसा एस्टेट जहाँ पे जो लॉर्ड है, जो ज़मींदार है, उसकी लैंड और उसका मैंशन का मतलब होता है हाउस. वो है, उसको हम कहते हैं फ्रांस में कहते हैं मैनोर. They had hired band of brigades who were on their way to destroy the ripe crops. And caught in frenzy of fear, peasants in several districts seized hoes and pitchforks and attacked chateuks. Now what is chateuks? Chateuks is castle or स्टेटली रेजिडेंस बिलोंगिंग टू अ किंग और अ नॉबलमैन. हर एक स्टेट में, हर एक जगह पे किंग की अपना फोर्ट होता था, एक पैलेस टाइप का होता था. सो इसको हम कहते हैं कैसल. कैसल का मतलब होता है छोटा सा पैलेस. और फ्रांस में, यूरोप में उसको कैसल कहते हैं. सो उसका रेजिडेंस, किंग का रेजिडेंस होता था. सो दे अटैक्ड Chatruks, large people. They looted grounds and burned down documents containing records of manorial dues, and a large number of nobles fled. वो fled चले गए, nobles जो थे वो चले गए from their homes, many of them migrating to neighboring countries. So इन सब को देखते हुए ही king ने लास्ट में national assembly को accept किया. He accepted the national assembly, accepted the constitution made by the national assembly, and in this way that particular constitution came in force. In our next video we will be reading the again the second topic, that is France becomes a constitutional monarch. So far whatever we have learned, just make a notes out of it so that you can have a grasp of what is going on, and where we shall meet again in a new video. Thank you.